Thinking is difficult, that's why most people judge. Carl Jung. Not everyone who smiles at you wants to see you rise. Sometimes the people who clap the loudest are quietly waiting for you to fall. They look supportive, they act like friends, but deep down, something darker stirs. Resentment, envy, silent competition. The danger? Even they might not be fully aware of it. Jung spent his life studying the unconscious, the hidden forces that shape behavior in ways we don't see. He spoke of the shadow, the parts of ourselves we deny and then project onto others. And often these shadows wear a friendly face. They laugh with you, but shrink when you shine. They offer help, but secretly hope you fail. You sense it in their eyes, in their tone, in the way they go quiet at your success. And you doubt yourself because their words are kind, but your gut doesn't lie. This is what Jung warned us about, those whose resentment hides behind politeness, those who don't even realize they envy you because the truth is buried so deep in their unconscious. These people don't just challenge your boundaries, they quietly erode your self-worth. So today, let's decode a subtle but dangerous truth. Some people may appear to love you, while secretly resenting you. And unless you understand the psychological signs, you might keep them close while they slowly dim your light. Let's begin.
Carl Jung believed that each of us carries within us a shadow, a part of the psyche we deny, repress, or refuse to acknowledge. It holds the traits we judge as unacceptable: envy, anger, selfishness, insecurity, and because they're hard to face, we bury them deep. But buried doesn't mean gone. What we suppress internally often resurfaces externally, through projection. Instead of confronting our own discomfort, we place it on others. So when someone resents you but pretends to love you, what's really happening is that their unconscious is in conflict. They might genuinely think they care about you, but their shadow sees you as a mirror of something they've lost or never had: your confidence, your calm, your success, your joy. You don't even have to flaunt it. Just your presence, your growth, your peace, it unsettles them, not because you've done anything wrong, but because you unknowingly awaken parts of themselves they haven't come to terms with. You touch the sore spot. And so they applaud you with words, but there's tension behind their eyes. They compliment you, but it doesn't quite land. They show up for your wins, but you sense a distance, a lack of warmth, a subtle withdrawal. Jung called this the split between the ego and the shadow. The ego wants to appear good, loyal, kind, but the shadow remains raw and unresolved, and when unacknowledged, it finds ways to act out. What's dangerous is that these people often have no idea what they're doing. Their support feels real, even to them. But your nervous system picks up on the mismatch. Something doesn't feel clean. And because these people are often close, friends, siblings, even partners, you override your intuition. You say, they would never feel that way about me. But the body knows. You feel it in how they react when you're happy, in how they go silent after your breakthrough, in how they minimize your ideas with a smile. The pain is quiet, but it builds. Jung would say, this is not about blame, it's about awareness. These dynamics don't make someone evil, they make them human and unaware of their own inner conflict. But just because it's unconscious doesn't mean it can't hurt you. When someone's unacknowledged shadow leaks through in passive ways, sarcasm, distant praise, subtle sabotage, it chips away at your self-trust. You start questioning your light. You feel guilty for shining. And slowly, without realizing, you begin dimming yourself to stay connected. That's the real cost. Resentment hidden behind love is more dangerous than open hostility because it's harder to name, harder to confront, and easier to doubt yourself in the process. And yet, so many of us tolerate it. We convince ourselves it's just in our head. We avoid discomfort by pretending everything's fine. But Jung taught us that healing begins with honesty, with seeing things as they are, not as we wish them to be. So the next time you feel something off in a relationship, don't rush to dismiss it. Tune in.
Because the people who say they love you might not even realize how much they resent what you represent. In this second part, we continue exploring Jung's insight by looking at the subtle signs, those quiet signals, that someone may be pretending to love you while quietly resenting you. These signs are rarely loud or dramatic. In fact, they're often cloaked in politeness, care, or even affection. But beneath the surface, there's a current of envy, competition, or unresolved shadow. And the first sign? Backhanded compliments. They sound supportive but leave a strange aftertaste. You look great today, for a change, or you're so lucky everything just works out for you. On the surface, it's praise, but it's the kind that subtly undermines. Instead of feeling seen, you feel small. The second sign is inconsistent support. They're present when you're struggling, maybe even generous, but when you're doing well, when you're rising, they disappear. They don't ask about your success, or they change the subject. It's as if your growth triggers something in them that they can't quite face. And the contrast is sharp. They were emotionally available in your pain, but emotionally absent in your joy. The third sign is an overfocus on your flaws. You might notice that they highlight what you lack more than what you bring. They point out your mistakes, your insecurities, the things you're still figuring out, but rarely celebrate your strengths. This isn't constructive feedback, it's the kind of honesty that slowly chips away at your confidence. Jung would say this comes from a need to level the playing field. If they feel threatened by your light, they'll subconsciously try to dim it. The fourth sign is found in micro-expressions and body language. A smile that doesn't reach the eyes, a slight turn of the body away from you, a delayed response when you share good news, a cold hug that feels more like obligation than care. These signals are hard to explain but easy to feel. The body doesn't lie, even when words do. And finally, one of the most overlooked signs, emotional withholding. When you need warmth, they turn cold. When you seek encouragement, they give indifference. When you open up, they shut down. It's not about what they do, but what they consistently choose not to do. They may never criticize you outright, but their silence speaks. Their distance, their hesitation, their lack of joy for your joy. It all builds into a pattern. Over time, it teaches you not to trust them with your happiness. Not because they said something cruel, but because they withheld love when it mattered. Jung believed the unconscious is always communicating, and in relationships it speaks through tone, timing, gestures, presence, or absence. So, if you ever feel like someone loves you with their words, but drains you with their presence, listen to that. The people who resent you often don't even realize it, but your body knows, your intuition knows. And part of honoring your self-worth is trusting those quiet signals, even when they don't come with proof, because your peace matters more than proximity. And protecting your energy isn't selfish, it's self-respect. In the end, not everyone who stands beside you is truly for you. Not all love is safe. Not all support is real. And Carl Jung's words echo louder than ever. What is not made conscious will control us from the shadows. The quiet envy, the unspoken resentment, the subtle emotional withdrawal, it all adds up. And if you don't bring awareness to it, it will shape your relationships without you even realizing. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is to walk away from those who almost love you. Because almost love isn't enough. It asks you to shrink, to dim your light, to question your worth. And you don't have to hate them. You simply have to love yourself enough not to settle for half-truths and quiet hostility. You deserve presence, not performance. Support that's consistent, not conditional. Love that doesn't hide behind a mask. So, if this video helped you see something more clearly, maybe a person, a dynamic, or even a part of yourself, take a moment to reflect. What's one subtle sign you've noticed that made you realize someone's love wasn't real? Leave it in the comments. Your story might help someone else trust their gut. And remember, self-respect isn't about being hard, it's about being honest. And sometimes, honesty means choosing peace over proximity.